From Studio K at Foxborough Cable Access.
Saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose.
Feeling creative?
Sage has a great flavor.
Is your palate needing a new challenge? Well, let's cook with Mike Damasio.
We have a great show for you today. I have a very special guest, my sous chef at Flick International at the World Trade Center. This is Kevin Camellas. We have a great dish to present to you today. First, let's talk a little bit about Kevin. Where are you from, Kevin?
All right, so I grew up in Miami, Florida. I studied at Johnson & Wales in Providence, Rhode Island. Spent 4 years there. I've worked, in various jobs. I've done cheesemongering. I was a butcher. I've worked in fine dining at Les Palliers in Boston. And now I work as a corporate chef for Fidelity Investments.
Very nice. Kevin and I work together at Fidelity Investments at the World Trade Center. He does a great job, very hard worker. I'm happy to have him as one of my members of our management team there. So we have a great dish for you to prepare for us today. This is a dish that you created?
Yeah, it is. I was a sous chef of a restaurant at Fat Cat's Bistro in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And I like to bring some spins. I'm of Cuban descent. My parents were both born in Cuba. So I like to do a lot of plays on classical French dishes and kind of change them a little bit. So I have pan-seared scallops, which is pretty classic. I'm going to do a parsnip puree. I cook the parsnips in cream, and then I puree them with a little smoked paprika, get a really nice color. And then a sweet potato succotash, which normally has lima beans in it. I'm using some black beans, some Cajun seasoning, get a little spice going, and then an orange beurre blanc with a little saffron in it. Which is a butter sauce. So
excellent.
Nice.
So we're going to break that down as we create. We're going to go through some of our ingredients here first. So right here we have the main part of the dish. This is our scallops. We're also going to do a vegetarian version of the scallop dish, and using tofu. We're going to make the scallops look like, make the tofu look like scallops by forming them in our cookie cutter. Why don't you go through some of the ingredients here for us?
All right, so I have my Cajun seasoning there. What's easy, you can just go to the store, find bottled Cajun seasoning. If not, you can kind of create your own. Everyone has their own. Mike has his own. I have my own. But usually it consists of, there's always salt in it, usually dried herbs like thyme and oregano, paprika, cayenne pepper. I like to have smoked paprika in mine, cumin. But you can get crazy with it, whatever you want to do.
Very nice. We have the saffron. Now this is a very expensive herb.
So saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose, a flower, the saffron flower. And you find it really in more tropical Mediterranean environments. It's very common in Spain. It's a beautiful purple flower. And then the stamen actually is what they collect. And they have to collect it by hand because it's very delicate. They dry it. And then they use it in a lot of their dishes. It creates a beautiful yellow color in the dish. You see it in paella all the time. And then we like to, in Spain they like to use it a lot to create flavor as well. But it is very expensive. A tin like that goes for, $70 to $80.
Very expensive, so we use it sparingly.
Right, but there are substitutes. If I was using, if I didn't have saffron on hand, I would use turmeric. You can get the same color. The flavor's a little different, but you get that same nice, beautiful golden color.
Excellent. Then we have our red pepper and green peppers. We have some nice slivered almonds, cilantro, some thyme, sweet potatoes,
Yep.
the black beans, the corn, and the onions for the dish.
Correct.
All right, so let's get cooking. What's going to be our first step here, Kev?
All right, so when you're making a dish, it's really nice to do, this is good for like a dinner party, so a composed dish. And it's actually really easy. It's going to look beautiful, and it presents really well. You want to start with the things that hold the heat the best. So the starchy item like the succotash and the parsnip puree is where I'd probably start, and that'll hold the heat better. We'll move on to the scallops at the end, and the beurre blanc sauce we can just get going.
All right, so let's get going. Let's turn on our cooking equipment. Okay, so Chef Kevin has already prepared the beginnings of the beurre blanc sauce. Why don't you tell us what's in here?
Basically, it's a reduction of orange juice. I have about a pint of orange juice in there. A little saffron, just for color, so a pinch. It really doesn't matter how little or how much you use. If you like the color, then you're good. Let that reduce with about a tablespoon of vanilla extract. until it gets really nice and thick like this. I mean, that's about reduced by 80%. So you're gonna get it hot, and you're gonna fold in cold butter, and then you have the sauce is complete.
Very good.
So yeah, we'll get that going.
All right.
I'll work on the parsnip puree.
All right, very good.
All right.
Okay, what would you like me to do? We're going to get this other pan cooking
right.
up here.
So yeah, why don't we start the succotash too, so you can get the oil going and get that heated up. In the bowl here, I've already cooked the parsnips with smoked paprika, cream, and the parsnips. So they're in there, they're chunky still. The butter's floating on top as well, so it doesn't look too attractive right now, but when I puree it, it's going to turn into a nice smooth sauce.
Excellent. Everything smells great, by the way, and we haven't even begun to cook. This is one of my favorite cooking tools in the kitchen. Takes a lot of time out of breaking out a food processor. This is basically, it's called a burr mixer or hand mixer. Does a nice quick job.
Mike, can you grab me the cream, please? Yes. So the puree is coming out a little thick right now. So I'm going to add a little cream to it. All right, this one.
Add the sweet potatoes.
So with the succotash, you want to start with the item that can take the most heat first. So that would be the sweet potatoes and then the onions as well.
So as you can see, that sauce just transformed into a lumpy orange kind of stew-like to a nice creamy, smooth, delicate sauce, really, with the cream in there.
What's nice with parsnips is when they cook down, it turns very velvety. The texture is unlike anything you might have tried. When you have potatoes and you puree them, you get very starchy. Parsnips kind of hold their starch in, so it just gets really nice and creamy. If I were to go looser, I could actually turn this into a sauce instead of like a starchy puree.
Very nice. Well, the flavors are starting, you can really start to smell all the different flavors that we have going on here. All right, so we've started the succotash. We have the beginnings of the beurre blanc.
Exactly. So the beurre blanc is getting really hot right now. So it's almost ready for the butter. You want it to be nice and bubbling, and once you fold in the cold butter, it's going to get nice and thick and velvety. So we have the succotash working.
What's next?
All right, so I'll explain something about the scallops. So scallops always come with the side muscle on. It's the adductor muscle which controls the opening of the scallop and the closing. So you want to remove that because it's very, very chewy. So basically, I'm going to have Mike do this if you want to throw some gloves on.
I do.
So it's this side muscle right here. You just pluck it with your finger, and it comes right off, and that's it. You get rid of it. Some people will save it; they'll use it for fish stock. I might do that even later, but we'll see.
All right. So we have these nice, beautiful sea scallops, nice and big for the dish, and I'm removing the mussels.
All right, so the beurre blanc is ready for the butter. It's nice and bubbly. I pulled it off the heat because if you keep it on the heat while you're doing the beurre blanc, it's going to break the sauce. So I have about 4 ounces of butter here, which is like half a cup. And I'm just going to swirl it in. I have a whisk here. And that's going to create this nice sauce.
I think I've demuscled all of the scallops.
All right, perfect. So now I'm going to finish up this sauce. We've got the succotash going. Parsnip puree is done.
Next step in the succotash would be?
The corn and the beans. So as I said before, succotash traditionally has lima beans in it. That's kind of the classic ingredient that makes it a succotash. And basically it's a quick sauteed dish, usually has root vegetables in it. It's to create a lot of flavor, kind of utilize what's in season right now. So I put a twist on this, kind of created a Cuban sort. We use a lot of sweet potato in Cuba. Black beans, obviously, a lot. Corn is very common. I'm actually going to put a little bit of the almonds in there too, just to create a nice crunch factor.
Well, the amazing part of this all is how beautiful it looks in the contrasts of color, the light with the dark, with the yellow and the orange and the black. And talk about the colors in food and you know, and why that's important in the cooking process.
So, as a chef, we try to create canvases on the plate. It's called plate painting. And you know, our first goal is to create flavor, and that's what we have going on right here. But the second goal is to make a beautiful dish. So we try to utilize what creates a good flavor profile, but also creates, you know, nice colors.
Absolutely.
So here we have, you know, a beautiful gold, you know, nice golden orange. We have the black, we have the yellow. The scallops are white, fresh herbs. It's just going to be a beautiful painting. You know, a beautiful painting on the plate, really.
Very nice. All right, so we have our succotash brewing, we have our sauce going, we have the puree just about ready to go, adding some seasonings. What are we going to do next?
So let's throw in the, why don't you chop some thyme for me? That's going to go in the succotash as well. Excellent. And maybe a little sage for me too.
All right.
The key with creating any dish is to season in layers. So I had already roasted the sweet potatoes. I coated them in a little bit of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and then a little salt and pepper. And then as we create this dish, I just seasoned it again, and that's really the key to creating a delicious dish. You just keep seasoning as you go through instead of just doing it all in one.
All right, I have some finely chopped thyme here. Very nice, very nice. So the aroma is great.
All right, so you got the thyme.
Yes.
A little sage. And then I'm gonna get this, I have my my skillet right here to the side. It's nice and hot, and I'm gonna get ready to sear the scallops.
So I'm going to be using a cutting method on this, on the sage here. It's called chiffonade. Basically, it's really nice when you use a broadleaf herb like a basil or a sage. You lay out the sage on top of each other, pile it up as so. Then you just roll it. Roll it into a little ball like that. May I have my knife? Thank you, sir. And you slice it, and what this gives, it gives it nice strips, even strips of herb. It'll fall nicely into the plate. Adds again a little bit of different texture to the dish. A lot of people like to fine dice like I did, or fine chop the herbs like I did with the thyme to everything, but it's also nice to have the full strips like that to bring out more of the flavor of the herb.
You know, chiffonade is one of the first things they teach us in culinary school. Basically, in French, it means ribbon. So that's exactly what Mike's created here. And again, like he said, it just creates a beautiful, you know, difference in texture.
So this is really...
Yeah, so that's coming along really nicely.
Really nice.
Gonna add a little more salt and pepper.
Excellent. It's coming
now
out
I have
great.
the scallop searing. So the key with scallops is you really want high heat while you're cooking them. You're going to create a nice crust on either side of the scallop, which is going to create this nice caramelization, which is called Maillard browning. That's the process where the proteins have denatured in the meat and the sugars begin to caramelize. So that's going to create that beautiful brown color you see when you go to a nice steakhouse or a nice fish restaurant and you get that nice crust.
So I'm going to do the vegetarian style here. So what we have is basically some extra firm tofu, okay? And we're going to fool our vegetarian guests to think that they're eating scallops. So basically what we're going to do is take a small cookie cutter in the shape of the scallops and circle out some scallop-shaped tofus. And this is great so that, again, in case you have some guests that are vegetarian, but you want them to enjoy the same meal. A lot of people, they have a vegetarian that comes over and they offer them a salad. Well, here's an opportunity to have them enjoy everything else, because everything else we're preparing here is vegetarian, and we can now offer the same flavors, the same dishes as everybody else at the table.
So this dish is actually very easy to make vegan. So the vegan essentially means they can't eat any, the individual can't eat any animal products at all. So instead of cooking the parsnips in cream, I can cook the parsnips in soy milk and then puree it that way with no butter. If it's not thick enough, you can also cook the parsnips with a little potato, and that's going to create that starchy thickness that we're looking for. The succotash itself, no butter, but other than that, it's already vegan. And then instead of the scallops, we're doing the tofu right here. I got a little Cajun seasoning on it, and that's going to brown up. And I mean, they almost look like scallops. It's kind of cool.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Yeah. So I got this skillet going up really nice and high, and we're working on the browning. You don't want to overcook scallops because then they become really rubbery. But I'm just waiting to get that nice color.
All right. So let's go over to our the puree.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what's in there now again.
All right. So we did the parsnips. We got the cream and a little bit of the smoked paprika. And this is actually going to be something that I like to have a lot of fun with. When I do the plate, I'll place it on the plate in a circular motion and use a spoon and actually create a teardrop. It's kind of a technique that you see a lot in fine dining restaurants, and that acts as the base for the canvas. It's a really easy technique. It'll impress a lot of people if you do it, and I just think it's kind of fun to do.
So the great thing about what we're cooking here is that none of this is too difficult. Yes, Kevin went to culinary school. He has a degree in all of this, but this is all simple ingredients that if you put together, and you can create an impressive dish to impress your friends no matter how qualified you are in a kitchen. This whole meal right here is probably under $30 worth of product, and we'll end up being able to feed, how many are here in the studio? We'll be able to get at least 6 or 7 of us well fed for the early morning.
Awesome.
This will be our brunch dish for the day.
Exactly.
Very nice.
All right. So the thing that's also nice is a lot of the ingredients are easily accessible. A lot of people think chefs are not snooty, but they use a lot of unattainable things. This is stuff you can find. Cooked corn kernels frozen at your local grocer. The black beans, you don't even have to use dry. I soaked them overnight, and then it's called the quick soak method. So you soak them overnight, and then you remove them, and then you just cook them in the water after straining it.
You want to make sure you can hand press them
Exactly.
to make sure they're done.
And then, but you can use canned beans. You just strain them, always rinse off the liquid, and then you have, ready to go beans. So I'm really starting to get some color on the side of this scallop. You can see it's got some nice brown color going. Some of them work a little faster than others.
Yeah, start flipping them now.
Yeah, so I'm going to start flipping these guys.
Oh, they look great. How's it smell out there? Everybody smelling nice? Yes. Lots of thumbs up. I just want to say this is my 3rd show. My first 2 shows were done with Bob Hickey, as everybody knows here in town. But I just want to say, with Kevin here, we have increased our audience participation by 100%. We have a studio audience of 1. Thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate that.
All right, so even the tofu, we're getting a little color from the Cajun seasoning browning.
Looks
the
great.
reason I put that, you get tofu's kind of bland in flavor, to be honest with you. So you want to heavily season it. Salt, pepper, and then the Cajun seasoning, which is also going to create the browning. Also, I didn't have time to do it, but what I like to do with tofu is if I buy it, I'll take it out of the package and I'll actually press it. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it in paper towels and I'll put a heavy plate on top of it while it's sitting on top of another plate, and that's going to leach out as much moisture as possible, and you get even more meat-like texture.
Very nice. Well, this dish is starting to turn out to be delicious.
All right, so I'm getting ready to start plating this in a minute.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave the scallops cooking, and as I start to build the components of this dish. So
All right.
I brought 2 different plates. I want to show how you can plate the same exact dish in 2 different ways to make it look beautiful.
This is great. I mean, all these nice fresh ingredients. What a colorful dish. I mean, this is enough to impress any food critic that may come by.
So I got this beautiful blue plate, kind of Spanish style looking, and I have a clear plate. You see a lot of clear plates now in fine dining restaurants. It's kind of the new thing right now. To be honest with you, it's not the easiest thing to plate on because you get what's below it as your canvas, but those are always white tablecloth restaurants anyways. So I'm going to create more of a fine dining presentation on this plate. I'm going to create more of a bistro style plating on this one. There'll be a little more food on it. It'll be a little taller, and we'll see how that turns out. So I'm going to start. When you're plating something, you want to start with the thing that holds the most temperature, the most heat. So that's the starch in this case. So I'm going to start with the parsnip puree. So with a simple spoon, I'm just going to place a nice little dab right there on the plate. Clean off my spoon a little bit, and then just do a nice little teardrop like that. So that creates a nice little base for us to start our plate. It kind of creates an interesting look. And on this plate, I'm just going to create a nice little mound in the middle. We're going to build our plate right on top of that.
Excellent.
All right. Then we're going to move on to the succotash. Give that a nice little final toss. We got some nice color on that. I could probably use a bigger spoon, Mike.
All right.
All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm just putting the succotash right on the plate, right in the corner, on the side of my my teardrop. And then on this plate, I'm going to put it right in the middle. And see, what's cool about this plate is it really makes the colors pop because there is no blue in this dish. All right.
All right.
So we'll put that right over here.
Back out here.
All right. And then we're going to do the scallops.
Get you some.
All right. So on this one, I'll put one right there. Then we'll just do a couple around. Right? And then on this one, we'll do one on top. One right here. One right here.
It's good enough to eat, Kevin.
I know. But we're not done. We got our sauce now. All right, so here's our beurre blanc. It's ready to go. I'm gonna put a little bit on this scallop right here. And then we're gonna get a little fancy. We're just gonna go around the plate like this.
Well, that is fancy.
I know, thank you. All right, so you'll see this really pops on this plate. And then, you know, not for overkill, but just to get a little fancy too, we're gonna do a little fresh cilantro right on top. Just right around the plate and right around this plate. And you have a beautiful dish right there.
This is excellent.
So
All right.
yeah, we created, you know, a really nice canvas. They both look very different the way it's plated, and that, you know, it's kind of nice. You can play with it. You can have a little fun, see what you like and how you like to think that different things look. It's pretty interesting.
Excellent. Let's take those tofu and just replace them with this one, just to show what it looks like with the
I'm glad you
vegetarian
did four,
style.
Mike. Perfect.
Perfect amount, right?
Right. So yeah, I mean, it looks like the same dish. It's very impressive.
Very nice. Well, that does it for our show for today. I mean, this was an incredible dish. Kevin, we really appreciate you stopping by and showing us one of your personal creations. I mean, it's really simple, really easy, really delicious, and in the end, it's really healthy for you as well. I mean, all fresh ingredients. Scallops are a good source of nutrition for you, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you to everybody in the Foxborough area. We hope to see you next time on Let's Cook with Mike Damasio. Thanks for coming.